What's going on, guys? Oh, what's going on, guys? It's GBP, baby. Welcome to another video. It's currently 1 minute past midnight on Friday now, the 10th of November. And yeah, we've had a interesting turn in the market on Thursday. Price didn't do exactly as I anticipated. It done a lot of what I anticipated, but it didn't do exactly what I anticipated. So now I'm pretty bullish on dollar, and that's purely because of the continuation to upside, the respect of this fair value gap that we see here. Let me just draw that out. You can see how we're respecting the 50% level of this. And so now in terms of buy side targets, we can look at this fair value gap from here. We've got a volume imbalance plus this fair value gap. So I'm just going to draw out that entire range completely, as price will likely want to trade into that. Also, we have some high impact news tomorrow as well, which is also going to help move the market. But yeah, it is possible that what we saw um, last week Friday was simply a run on stops. But yeah, let's see if we can. If we do manage to climb up into this fair value gap, then in the new week I'd probably expect a continuation to the upside and running back into that monthly fair value gap that we've been looking at in general. But let's drop down to the 4 hour so we can get a better look. You can see we came down, traded to the 50% level off that fair value gap, and then we had an aggressive movement higher, running out these relative equal highs, just about touching this fair value gap. You can see we have relative equal highs up here now, and we've also created a nice breaker. We have a swing low here, we have a swing high here, we have a lower low here, and we have this higher high now. So that means that we'd want to, in order for to look in terms of looking for buys, we want to see on dollar anyway. We want to see price come back down to this level here, which is the breaker high. As soon as it touches this, we can be looking for buys on dollar, obviously sells and shorts in pairs, and then we can see if we can run up into this daily fair value gap. More specifically, this crazy imbalance that was left there last week, I believe. I'm just going to make that a lighter blue. But yeah, let's go to the 1 hour just to get a better look. Here again, let me mark out my daily dividers as well. I'll be right back. So here's that level again marked out. You can see we came down, grabbed those stops from Wednesday's low and then moved aggressively higher. And like I said, I'd like to see if we can pull back into this range. Also 50% off this 1 hour wick, which is nice to see. And see if we can accumulate more buys again to push higher and start running up into this swing high residing here, which will offer us buy side liquidity. I can mark that out here. And then potentially into the imbalance. It doesn't need to fill the imbalance tomorrow, but I do want to see more expansion to the upside. Let's drop down to the 15 minute. You can see this massive fair value gap. You can see how that breaker block cuts right through the center of this wick and the fair value gap. Can't make this up. Again, supportive, and this block specifically, the last up close before the down move. That's what we want to keep our eyes on. So let's make that yellow, and we want to see price come down into that level, offering us buys tomorrow. So yeah, quite a interesting day. The movement down was nice to see. Although I was expecting us to move deeper down, I wanted to see if we could actually reach down lower. But you can see that we did actually manage to take out Tuesday's low and Wednesday's low, which is quite interesting. But yeah, it does seem like it's one of those days where we've created the low on the Monday and we're simply just working our way up. We're going to create the high on the Friday and probably retrace a little bit, depending on how fast the markets want to move. But yeah, at least now we know that we have a bias. We can start looking for buy side, and let's go to GBP. We'll go to the daily. Let me get rid of all my drawings. Now, GBP I did trade today alongside Euro. You can check out my trade execution on my YouTube channel. I'll leave a link to that. But there's also, I was also asked to actually show you more in-depth analysis of why I took the trade, so I will be making a trade review eventually on that. But let's get straight to the daily. Here's Thursday's price action. You can see we're running down, and you can see this beautiful fair value gap resting on the daily just here that we may want to reach for. Let's go on the weekly real quick though. You can see we created the high after running out these stops right here quite lightly. So we took out those stops, had a very strong reaction away from that level, and now it looks like we're going to head deeper. Now with this kind of aggressive movement, so long as we continue to the downside, we can start to look at this weekly fair value gap all the way down here and this south side liquidity down there as well. So in terms of the daily, you can see we've been falling all week. Very bearish week. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark out this daily fair value gap. Let's make it this greeny bluey. I like this color. And yeah, let's drop down to the 4 hours, see what we can find. So actually, let's go to the 1 hour. Where are we? So let me just get the daily dividers up and I'll be right back. So here we are. Now you'll notice that GBP is showing a lot more weakness compared to Euro, which is why this fall here that we see is so aggressive. But similar to dollar, we should be able to identify a breaker. Now we do have a high here, low, high, high, low, low, but price is unlikely to retrace all the way up to there. We can look at this swing high though, this low and this high. So this level, this low here, I do like the look of. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw that out, same as what I've done with dollar, in terms of a place where price we want to retrace before we dive down into this daily fair value gap residing here. Let's go to the 1 hour, and you'll see how that is also 50% of this wick, because remember wicks are gaps too, so we can look at this range from this high to this low of the wick. I'll show you with a box. We can look at this as a fair value gap basically, so we want to see price trade into that, find resistance and push lower. Depending on how bearish we actually are, price may even want to run down deeper and run into the stops residing below here. But for now, I think we should just keep our eyes on the daily fair value gap and see if we can reach down and take out these stops. But in terms of tomorrow, what I would like to see, well, I'd like to see us trade up into this fair value gap. Remember, it's not a direct fair value gap, it's an implied fair value gap due to the fact that it's a wick. See if we can respect these levels. Let's make it a different color. And then continue lower. And you'll see how today we ran up, took out Wednesday's high. Then we had a nice reaction lower. You can see this traded up to the breaker as well. So we have a break, well, in mitigation, high, low, lower high, and we break down. So we can see this mitigation block gets traded to here, and then what do we have? Another breakaway and an aggressive move lower. So that's similar to what I want to see here. I want to see us trade up, trade into this wick, and then continue lower for the continued leg down. So yeah, that should be all good. Still 5 minutes here, not much. Yeah, let's see what. So now let's go to Euro USD. We'll start on the weekly as well. Now Euro was much more stronger than GBP today. You can see again we traded up, took out these highs, and we obviously had this turn. And since we're looking for downside PDA raise, we can look at the open of this order block as a potential draw. But let's drop down to the daily and see what we can find down there. And you can see there's a beautiful fair value gap there as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark out that fair value gap. You can see that the 50% level lines up with the order block, the weekly order block that I just drew out here. And yeah, you can see now as well, this fair value gap on the daily has been filled. The fact that this has been filled, and how, we've traded through that 50% level with aggression, and have we closed below it? We haven't closed below it just yet, but we can see continuation to the downside is likely to happen. What I'm also going to draw out is the 50% level of this wick now, and that will be the highest that I want to see price trade tomorrow. So let's just get that drawn out. Dashed. Oh, what am I doing? All right. So let's go to the 1 hour. This was the move that I traded higher, running out these stops. But then that turnaround in the market, I didn't anticipate because it wasn't in my weekly analysis or expectations. But you can see we turned around, aggressively ran lower, and now we've got beautiful relative equal lows residing below this here, this low, this low, this low. All of these are relative equal lows, so price is likely going to want to draw into that. We have this nice long wick here. Again, 50% of that price is going to want to draw into that. Break a low, high, swing high here, swing low here, higher high here, broke lower. So we can draw out this level, which is at the 50% level anyway. And as soon as price reaches that, we can be looking for nice sells on euro to run down into this fair value gap. Now you'll notice that there's more of a reach down into this fair value gap here compared to on GBP, right? And the reason for that is because, well, if you look at euro GBP, sorry, euro has been showing more strength. However, if euro's got more to fall, we want to see some weakness on euro GBP as well. But I'm not going to get into too much of that kind of analysis right now. But overall, what I'm looking for tomorrow, I would like to see us trade higher, run out these stops, look for sales as soon as we reach this 50% level off that wick, and obviously this break low, and then continue to sell and hopefully reach down into that daily fair value gap. So that's going to be everything, guys. Don't forget to check out the trade execution video, and I'll catch you on Sunday. Peace.